Group. Welcome to today's webinar on DNV for sugar. Excited to have Phil Warren here from Dun & Bradstreet. He's the channel director. He's going to be presenting today and walking us through the DNV integration for sugar. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. And anytime you guys feel like asking a question throughout the presentation, feel free to put it in the chat box and at any time, and we'll get those answered. So just a little overview about us in case you don't know, and sugar in general, and then a little bit about DNV, and then Phil will go through the integration and do a bit of a demo. So just about Fay Business Systems Group, we've got about 25 years of experience in the industry of CRM and ERP software. We are a Sugar CRM elite partner, and we just earned that distinction in January, and we are one of the top sugar partners in the world, and we love sugar. We love it so much we've built a handful of integrations around sugar. Some of you may be familiar with, and if not, you can kind of see these are some of the products that we have integrations with that we've created for sugar. And just about a little bit about sugar. They're the largest pure play provider of CRM, and what we mean by that is that it's just like CRM. That's what they do. Not, that's their core product, and it's the fastest growing CRM in the market. And they've been getting a lot of market traction and recognition in the industry, and they're poised to really become one of the top one or two CRM providers in the coming years for sure. So with that, I'm going to introduce Phil. He's going to take over from here and talk to you a bit about Dun & Bradstreet and how excited we are to show you the integration. So, Phil, take it away.
All right, Jesse, I appreciate it. And as Jesse alluded to, Fay is one of Sugar's top partners, and DNV is also, one of their main vendors for Sugar. So it's a very tight-knit community, and appreciate the opportunity and appreciate the partnership. So just a little bit about Dun & Bradstreet. Most people, know about us. Abraham Lincoln worked for us. I'm not even joking when I say that. So Dun & Bradstreet's been around for a long time. Basically, if you're a business and you need to get your credit checked, you need to have a DUNS number, which means that we've got scads of information on businesses around the world that we now integrate with Sugar and provide the most up-to-date information and vertical knowledge. We can do it better than anybody. So we've got data from over 200 countries. We can provide kind of the firmographic and company relationship data. We use a reference file for our matching processes. So the DUNS number is basically a social security number for a business. So it's a static number that's not going to change, and it helps eliminate duplicates and create some other efficiencies, which we'll dive into. It's a data source for all of our sales and marketing solutions, and it's a source of global linkage. So for all of our global products, you'll have a linkage data so you can kind of see all that information. And there's 4 DUNS right drivers. The big one, it's all in one place. So, when I've trained salespeople in the past to gather the type of information that we provide, we call it the swivel chair effect. So we'd have to go back and forth between 5 or 6 different resources to gather this information, and that's time and effort and swiveling back and forth between different resources, as opposed to our data integrated into Sugar. It's all in one place, all on one screen. So it's pretty exciting. We talked about the entity matching, so everybody only has one DUNS number. So when we're able to pull that up, it's going to eliminate duplicates because there's only one DUNS number for each business. So that helps a great deal, and I'll talk a little bit about what that's done for me in my past and why that's so important. Number 3, the DUNS number, like I've said it already a couple times, it's a constant number. It's not going to change. And then 4, relational. So understanding corporate linkages, understanding the parent and child organizations to the organizations that you're pursuing or interacting with is a vital piece to understanding that hierarchy. So it's able to do that for us as well. Hit the next slide for me, if you would, Jesse. Okay, so this just gives you an idea of how dynamic data is and how often it changes. This data is based on, I think this is back when we had 150 million businesses, data for that many businesses. But when you look at how dynamic it is, and I think it's only continuing to be more dynamic as times go on, you look at the number of business addresses that change, and this is within 30 minutes. So right now you're looking at 120 business addresses that change in 30 minutes. Telephone numbers, 75. Company names, 15. New companies closed, and this was surprising. Number of CEOs who leave their job, 20 within 30 minutes within 150 million businesses. So you can see this data. If you don't keep it up and keep track of it, your data can degrade very quickly. There's a 3% data decay per month within our database. So in other words, that could mean that after a year's time, if your data is not managed correctly, a third of your data can be bad. And you're making business decisions based upon that inaccurate data, and you're sending out marketing lists to incorrect information. In my past world, within CRMs, it really became what I call checking a box. All the information in it was poor, not all of it, but a lot of it was poor. So I didn't really see the value in fully utilizing the power of the CRM. So in many cases, I would just put in the minimum amount, so to keep my supervisors kind of off my back, if you will, because I didn't see the value in it. And it was more just to what I call check the box for them, as opposed to now with this process, I think it's going to enable us to increase our take rate and increase the amount of employees who really fully maximize the power of the CRM and the data that's integrated, because now they see the value of what it can provide and the power it's going to provide and what it's going to do for them in terms of their relationships with their customers and the credibility that they're able to have with their customers. And if you've got a great deal of credibility, it leads into all sorts of good things, and especially at long-term relationship. And really what we're trying to get to is to become a trusted business advisor with our customers. And to do that, the first step is establishing that credibility. And I think that's what we're able to do. There are 5 million changes that we put in place for our database every 24 hours. So every day we make changes. We make 5 million alterations. So this is a way to keep your data dynamic. And the changes that occur, we give you notification of those, and you have the option to make those corrections within your CRM. So it's a very valuable piece, and you'll see it in the demo. It's very compelling. Jesse, next slide, please. So just to kind of reiterate a little bit, it's going to give you access to fresh, vetted data from the most trusted source of business information. There are many ways to search information on businesses, but I think everybody agrees that the DUNS number is the best way to search businesses, and we're able to keep it fresh. We're able to eliminate that data decay. With DNV business data, your CRM is a better source of actionable information. All of your approaches to your customers from a sales, marketing, and customer service perspective is more effective because you've got the correct information. It's complete. It's not inaccurate. It provides those features so that when you're communicating with your customers, potential customers, and existing customers, your data is up to speed, and there's no wasted effort there. And plus, it adds, obviously, some credibility to your organization because you're doing the right things and you're maximizing your actions. It's going to help you sell deeper in your organizations. And really, this piece is key. Know your customer better. I think sales has evolved over the years, and it's no longer who is the best prospector. It's no longer who can ask the best questions. The key in today's world, and talking to busy C-level executives is understanding them, understanding their industry, understanding the vertical, understanding the challenges that they're facing and the typical issues that they're facing as a result of the daily landscape, and being able to provide insight in terms of what others are doing, understanding the pain points and the buzzwords, and really providing perspective for our customers. Einstein has a great quote. He says, "The problems we create cannot be solved at the same level of thinking at which we created them." So this basically means that there's times when our customers can't see the forest for the trees, and a good sales rep will help provide some perspective to help give them an overview of the forest by asking questions around their industry, asking questions around their pain points, and providing some clarity and help, maybe enabling their customers to see their problems in a different way or find problems that they didn't even know they had. A lot of customers, they know they've got issues, but sometimes they don't realize the full impact of what those issues and the ramifications for their business. So it's a key piece to have that credibility, and hopefully it's going to add to your profits as well. If we can solve your customers' key business challenges or have an impact on their key business challenges, imagine what that's going to do to your long-term relationship with the customer, but also when it comes down to time to talking about dollars and cents, and I've been able to help them with their day-to-day business challenges, those conversations become much easier, and hopefully the price piece of the puzzle becomes an easier conversation to have. Jesse, next slide, please.
Yeah, Bill, I just wanted to add, to that point, selling deeper into organizations is just an incredible tool to, giving you access to different levels of an organization's team, all within Sugar. You don't have to go all over the place and utilize multiple sources. It's just a really cool feature to be able to have this kind of intelligence all right there within Sugar. So I'm just kind of wanted to add to that, but I will move on to the next slide.
No, great point, Jesse. Absolutely. I think you'll see when you see the demo. It's compelling. You'll probably agree with that point. So accurate deduplicated account records. In my past world, I'd go to enter in an opportunity into a certain record, and there would be 5 companies of similar names. It would just be different versions of an account that I've been working with. And at times, it'd be difficult to ascertain which record I should enter the information in. And if I chose the wrong record, it would not tell me it was an error until I'd have already completed filling out the information that it requested. So, again, a tremendous waste of time, tremendous amount of frustration for me. But this is a way to permanently eliminate those duplicated records. It also prevents multiple resources from calling on the same prospects as well. You get targeted contacts within your customers, so you understand who the key players are. You can segment through our build list functionality, through characteristics like industry, financial, size. You can do also through build a list for contacts. You can search by title. You can search by IPO. You can search by all sorts of different ways you can think to slice and dice your data. Just about we can do it through our build a list functionality. I think your territory assignments are made easier with having access to this enriched data. And then this next point is kind of what I talked about earlier. You're going to drive your CRM adoption. So as opposed to just checking a box, now I'm going to see the value of really spending time and putting in accurate information and putting in robust information into the CRM because I recognize what it can do, and that coupled with the DNV integration for Sugar, the value that it's going to provide and what it's going to do for me in terms of my results with my customers. And then you're going to be able to aggregate accounts and assign resources based on opportunities. So based upon the characteristics of the organization, based upon who else has been pursuing. Maybe there's some other people in your organization talking to a parent company of a company you're dealing with, and perhaps they can provide some insight or help you further penetrate the account based upon their relationships. So it does a lot of stuff for you, and I think all in all, it's going to help make your sales process easier, and you're going to be more effective, and hopefully shorten the sales cycle as well. Next slide, please. So just to kind of sum up, the world's largest commercial database. We've got information on over 250 million businesses in more than 200 countries. We've just acquired a company called Net Prospects, which are going to help us even further reinforce our professional contact data. But right now, we've got information on 100 million professional contacts. We've got the largest collection of corporate family relationships. So again, understanding the hierarchy, understanding the parent companies and the child organizations that relate to the customers we're dealing with. It's dynamic. This is really, really important. 5 million updates over 24 hours. And then we collect information from over 30,000 authoritative sources. So this is not crowdsourced information. These are authoritative sources that we collect data from. So it's accurate. It's going to give you an up-to-speed, holistic picture of your customers. And then when I say the persistent key, here, the gold standard in business, that's the DUNS number, the social security number of the business. So it's going to help tie it all into one company. No, there will not be 5 listings for one company because it's done by the DUNS number. Everyone is unique, and it stays static. So it's a great kind of holding spot for understanding the organization and making sure that there's no duplicate records inside your CRM. Next slide, please, sir. And now it's demo time. So hopefully we can get go ahead and get me access here. Made the presenter, show my screen. Let me know when you're seeing my screen here, Jesse.
Yeah, you see it.
Okay, great. So there's really 3 aspects to the Sugar integration or the DNV integration for Sugar. The first one we'll look at is create an account. So if you notice here on the left side, this is all the information that is kind of hardlined into the CRM. And my name for purposes of this demo is Chris Oliver. So I'm going to type in the name of an account. And for purposes of this, we're going to use Ford Motor Company. Now you see when I start typing in Ford, over here in the search results, it's going to start pulling up organizations that may fit that. So it may be in the name of the address, it may be included somewhere within the primary information for an account, but Ford Motor Company is the one I'm trying to access. So you see here, it notifies me that it's a duplicate. I've used it as a demo before, so it's already in the CRM. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like when I go ahead and import this information. So you see I've got kind of the basic overview of the organization. And when I want to hardline it into my CRM, I'm going to go ahead and click the import button. It's telling me I stored it successfully, and now I'm going to go into save. So I want to save it in. Now it's already in here, so I don't want to save it again in this case. So I'm going to press cancel. Now it takes me back to my account screen. If you notice, Ford Motor Company is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Ford Motor Company. Now you see I've got the basic information loaded in. And over here I've got my what we call dashlets. So there's the options in terms of information that I can go ahead and look up about Ford. The first dashlet is important and rich. Now this is where I keep my information up to speed. So I'm going to open this. Right now it's telling me the company information is up to date. I've recently imported Ford, so all my information is current. But if it wasn't current, it would notify me here and tell me what changes we have, what updates we have to Ford. And you have the option to import it in. The reason we give you the option is, hey, maybe you've got the CEO's cell phone number, and we may not have that. So we give you an updated number, but you've got something even better. So you can choose not to import it. But again, we're going to let you know if we've got more up-to-date information to ensure your information stays current and fresh. If you look at company information here, It's going to give you a little bit more robust than just kind of your initial information that's there. So you see when it started, where your primary territory is, and then some key contacts within the organization, just a nice overview. And there's some operations text. We've got an editorial staff in the Austin office that keeps this information up to speed. And it's a great way for you to kind of get an overview of what they're doing and what the organization's about. If I click on the next dashlet, that's my contact information. So I can go ahead and search for a specific contact, or I can look at the contacts that DNV has listed in here. If you notice, this is listed as a premium contact, and what that means is we have either an email address and or a direct phone number for these individuals. So you'd want to look up premium contacts if you needed to get their emails through a marketing campaign. But if you notice, we've got a pretty strong list of some key contacts within the organization. If you look down the next step, we've got news listed here. We work with a company called First Rain. As I mentioned, they collect sources or collect news from over 30,000 different authoritative sources. So you can kind of see all the latest and greatest in terms of the news so we can understand what's going on within the organization. There's a new supercar being built in Ontario, so that might be interesting to know in terms of when I walk into the customer's account if I'm selling them as an overall entity. They're studying innovative business models, so they're looking to perhaps kind of to the future and what we can do and change our model to most accurately reflect the current market conditions. Record sales in January, that's a good thing. Maybe they're in a good financial shape, and that bodes well for my sales process. So pretty robust amount of news that's available. Also social media feeds, their YouTube, their Twitter, their Facebook accounts. We actually acquired an organization called FlipTop, and they're able to gain all that recent updated information via their social media feeds. So that's also good to know to understand what they've been communicating to the public. If you look on this next dashlet, competitors. So it stands to reason if I'm selling a specific entity, like competitors may also be good candidates. So almost like a prospecting list, if you will. We've got the 3 top competitors to Ford, and they're listed in order of revenue, so I understand who the top players are. But if you look right here, I've got Peugeot Saab already in my CRM. So that's a duplicate it's showing me there. So I know they've already got there. Now, maybe I didn't know that they were somehow related to Ford. And I could have been working with Peugeot, and maybe we've got another account rep that owns Ford, and they've been successful there. So maybe we can take advantage of those relationships and work together to further my penetration inside this account. So you see, it's a good list of other competitors that we can look at here. Financial information. We were going to tell you what the bulls say and what the bears are saying about the organization. So I want to know, kind of from a financial perspective, what their health is, what they're dealing with financially. Annual income statements, basic financial information. Once again, to Jesse's earlier point in the swivel chair effect, looking at annual income statements, you'd have to go to their site, looking up kind of what the bears and the bulls say. Maybe I go to a different website. So I may go to 5 or 6 different websites to gain the type of information that's all right here. So it's a great way for you to kind of do the pre-call planning, to look through this information and kind of understand everything. And, most sales reps I talk to, if they did pre-call planning, it certainly wasn't enough. And I think they would, didn't rarely have the time to kind of do really what you need to do in terms of a complete analysis before you walk into the account. But obviously this makes it significantly easier. And it's exciting for me. I came on in November of last year, so it's very exciting to me. It changes the way I talk about sales now because of what this integration can do for you. If I look at industry information, So that's going to tell me about the industry as a whole. It's going to show me kind of what's going on, what they primarily focus on, other trends in the industry. I'm going to understand business challenges, and this is really cool, the call prep questions. A lot of times sales reps will go into customer accounts, and they will, while the customer's talking, they're going to be kind of creating questions, additional questions they may want to ask their customer. Now, it's been proven, obviously with all the texting and driving laws, that you cannot do two things at the same time. I think there's many people who think they can multitask, but your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So I would always encourage sales reps to develop questions before they walked into a customer account so they can make sure they're listening, but also make sure that they ask a comprehensive question set. Because if you've been in sales for any amount of time, I'm sure you walked out of a client's office and realized, oh man, we forgot to touch on that, or there's some additional information I need to gather. This is a great way to make sure you've got a holistic set of questions before you walk in, and they're worded well and they're appropriate to the situation. So I think this is a really neat piece to have some of that insight. And then you look at financial information, glossary of acronyms. I know in past organizations I've worked in, when I first came in, it was so challenging to understand because everybody was using acronyms. And a lot of times you talk about it so much, it's an easy trap to fall into, to talk about everything by its acronym. So here's a great way for you to kind of understand those and maybe pick up on some of those inside a customer's, inside a sales appointment. So you can kind of understand, and how impressive would that be if you understand the acronyms they're using. So industry overview, industry websites, you can see a lot of great stuff there. And then the DNV Family Tree, again, this is where you're going to understand the parent and child relationships within an organization. So you can see the different branches by state. And then you start getting down here, and you're going to start seeing some other interrelated entities and kind of understand the hierarchy of the organization. And hopefully, maybe there's other people, like I said earlier, working on different entities inside this set, and you can take advantage of their relationships or their direction. So that's kind of a quick and dirty overview of the dashlets and kind of what it can do for you in terms of enhancing information. The next aspect of the integration is build a list. So if I go under accounts and I click on the build a list functionality, I'm going to come up with a bunch of different options here and how I can build together a marketing or prospect list. All this information, including the dashlets I just showed you, this is information that's in the cloud. So if I put in a country here, let's say I want to put in the United States, it's going to start working in terms of building me a list. So I've got information on over 18 million companies domestically. If I want to look at states, I am now officially in Austin, Texas. Just moved here, actually completed my move this week. So I'm going to go ahead and add Texas over. So now it's going to tell me that I've got 1.5 million different companies that I've got access to in the Texas market. And I can continue entering information. Let's put in Austin just for kicks and giggles here. Add Austin over. It's going to continue to refine the list here, and I've got access of 75,000 plus companies. We can look at industry. You can search industry by your NAICS code or your SIC code, which can really get down very fine in terms of the industry and specific verticals that you want to target. Company size. I do this a lot when I'm creating lists for our partners. Usually there's a specific employee size that I want to look at. So I can click down here. I can do greater than equal to, lesser than equal to, or between. So let's say I want to look at companies with 200 to 500 employees. Add that filter, and it's going to continue to refine my list here. 303 companies in Austin. Company information, we can look at their founding year, their PreSpring Score. So if you click on it and notice I've got the option for low risk medium risk, or high risk. So obviously we've got great financial information on organizations. Now, most of the time I'd probably want to looking at companies with low pre-screen risk scores, companies that are in good credit stead. But maybe I'm selling bankruptcy services. So I'd want to look at companies that are high risk in the credit world, and I'd want to target those entities. Additional financial information I can look at: net income growth, assets, and then I can look at IPO data as well. So pretty great way to slice data up for yourself and really look at a specific set of companies that make sense for your products and solutions, and be great marketing contacts. So the final kind of piece is we also have abilities to create lists within specific contacts as well. So I can look up a job function here, and I can look up, you can see a really nice list of different jobs that I can look at. So I may want to look at they've got a hypnotist I can pull up, but let's say I want to look up a type of instructor. So I go ahead and pull that up, and it's got over 3,500 instructors that we've got information on. I can look it up by location, industry, company size. Again, further stride-rate that data to be able to create a nice list for myself. So that's kind of the integration, really a broad overview of it. I think if you guys want a more in-depth demo, certainly Jesse and Faye can provide that for you guys. I just want to kind of give you a really broad overview of what it can do and what it can do for you in your process. I think you'll find that when you have all this data, it's really going to encourage adoption by your employees. They're going to recognize how valuable this information is, want to use it, want to take advantage of it, and it's pretty exciting. I think whenever we do a demo for people, for customers, they recognize the value of what this information can provide, and we're continually tweaking, making it better. And the three things to me are keeping your information dynamic, kind of eliminating that frustration of old outsourced or outdated data, and then making sure we're kind of adding to any incomplete information into your CRM, and then finally addressing any incorrect data in your CRM. And another piece that, just to touch on briefly, we've got a service called Optimizer. And what this can do is if you're bringing over data into the SugarCRM, or you're just integrating the DNV integration into the CRM, what we can do is we can take your customer list and do a mass scrub of your current data and tell you what inaccuracies are listed there, or how we can buffer up your existing data and load it in correctly initially. Otherwise, you've got to kind of import and enrich each one kind of as you go. So it's a great way to kind of clean your data initially, and then we'll keep it up to speed through the import and enrich feature. So hopefully that'll give you a good overview. Jesse, I'll kind of throw it back to you here.
Phil, on the build a list, is there a limit to the amount of people that we can add to the list?
There's no limit to how many people we can add in terms of importing it. Right now we can do 20 at a time. I think later in the year it continue to increase that number, but there's no limit in terms of how big of a list we can build.
And then how does is there an exporting function for that?
No, currently there's not. That's certainly something that we're looking at doing, but it's a great way to be able to import that into your CRM. You'll have that included inside the CRM, but currently we don't export to Excel.
Okay, great. That's good to know. The only other question that came in while we were chatting was you mentioned the updates to the overall database. Can you remind us again how many updates happen per day?
Sure. It's 5 million updates every day. So out of our we've got information on almost 250 million different businesses across the world, and we have 5 million updates that we do in our database every day.
Okay.
So
wow.
you can see a pretty significant amount of updates that we do, and I can't stress how having that dynamic information updating, how much that'll do for you, and making sure your data remains clean.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm going to launch a quick poll for everyone that's on the call. If you could just take a second to answer. We're just trying to get general consensus around the audience and the integration. So if you could take a moment to answer that, and then I'll close it here in a couple of seconds. All right, great. Thank you. And then we will launch one more poll. Okay, great. Looks like we got everyone to participate. Thank you very much. So with that, we've come to the end of our presentation for today, and everyone that registered, you have my contact information. If you're interested in asking more detail or seeing more information from Phil and about the DNV integration, we'd be more than happy to facilitate that. And Phil, thank you so much for jumping on with us and showing us the integration, and we're really excited about it. Before we wrap up, I did have one more thing to note. The popularity of the DNV integration, we're getting a lot of interest on it, and so if we recorded the webinar, so if you feel like you'd like to share today's webinar with your team, just let me know, and I will send you guys a copy of that and a copy of the slides as well that we walk through. So Phil, with that, I think we've come to an end. So again, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for attending, and stay tuned for more webinars by us, and you can visit our events page and see those. All right, take care.